What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be talking about something that hasn't been brought up in quite some time, and that is Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer. Yes, a topic that's been pretty controversial for almost a year now, ever since the release of the Remastered campaign late last March. There have been quite a few rumors circulating amongst different insiders who've all claimed that the multiplayer is going to happen, they just don't know when, but for months now, talks about that have completely died. So what happened? In tonight's video, I have a few updates for you guys. We have some bipolar news here. We have disappointing information about it, but also some hopeful information about it that should still be exciting for those out there that want to see remastered multiplayer of Modern Warfare 2. Definitely stay tuned. But before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, because about 85% of you that watch my videos aren't subscribed. So make sure you guys get notifications every time I update you on the entire Call of Duty franchise. And also, real quickly, be sure to use code DYNAMITE if you want to save 10% on any Control Freak orders. Their link is, of course, down below in the description. With Christmas just 2 days away, now is the perfect time to pick up any Control Freak accessories for your brand new next-gen consoles, which should be sitting underneath the Christmas tree in about 2 days' time. Now, speaking of Christmas, tomorrow night is Christmas Eve, and I'll be going live here on the channel at about 9:35 p.m. EST. I'll be doing a big open lobby with as many of you guys out there playing every game mode of Black Ops Cold War. Should be a ton of fun. Hopefully you guys can make it, and since we'll be going live so late at night, we're going to be live past midnight when Christmas officially starts, so hopefully we can see Santa come down. Should be a funny ass stream. But speaking of Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, let's start off with the Black Ops 3 mod. So I'm sure you guys have heard about this, but Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer was being built from the ground up on the Black Ops 3 engine, and it was being made by some Call of Duty modders. It wasn't an official project at all by Activision, so it was out of pure passion. But I'm here tonight gonna be telling you that the mod is 100% dead and it will not be happening. I'm sure you guys may have seen my tweet the other day if you follow me over on Twitter, where I also announced this. So I've talked to many heads on the project who've now left the project and confirmed that without some of them, the project won't be possible, and there's a 0.1% chance that it could ever continue. So with that being said, no matter what you guys see on Discord or other Twitter accounts, it is not going to happen. I think the original release date for it was pre-Black Ops Cold War. That didn't happen. There was an alpha and a beta plan. I think the alpha may have happened privately, but it was a mess. The beta got canceled, and then the new release date was, I think, going to be February or March 2021, and that, of course, isn't going to happen either. So I have to be honest with you, right? I was hopeful for the project. It looked beautiful because Black Ops 3 is a gorgeous game, so of course it would have looked good if the right people made it, but I had my doubts about it, right? I couldn't confidently say that the project would be successful and it would release and be okay. I always had my doubts because Activision could have stepped in at any time and said, you know what, we don't want this project to continue, right? I wouldn't have been surprised if the mod itself was close to finished or fully finished and Activision came in and said, yeah, you gotta turn that off, right? Cancel this entire mod because we have our own remastered multiplayer dropping in X amount of days or weeks, right? That could have happened. I think the mod also could have released. It would have been great. People would have loved it. But then Activision could have even came in months down the line and said, yeah, we were okay with it, but now our own multiplayer is dropping for Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, so take that off the Steam Workshop. Any of those things could have happened, and none of those things would have shocked me whatsoever because it is Activision's property. But the reason why the mod was canceled wasn't even because of Activision, surprisingly. It was actually internal mismanagement. So, like I said, I talked to many heads on the project who told me about their experiences, and to say the least, it was nearly a mess from the start. Almost nothing was actually finished for it, but there was some footage and some screenshots out there which I've had on screen for you guys to see. It looked promising, but the amount of work this project would have took would have been ridiculous. It was a very ambitious project, and you could probably understand why. It's an entire multiplayer with maps, weapons, characters, kill streaks, all these balancing issues, right? There was a lot that would have had to go into this, and I was also told there were people involved in the project that expected compensation for their work on the mod. And let's make one thing clear, you aren't allowed to make money off working on mods for Call of Duty. Activision will not let that slide if you do get caught, and maybe you'll get away with it with other games, but definitely not with Call of Duty, right? You could have took under the table offers from certain people, sure, I mean, maybe you would have got away with it, but at what cost, right? What amount is worth taking that big of a risk and potentially getting sued by Activision of all companies, right? What is that worth? You could have even had a PayPal link set up to accept donations, which I think they had, but even that could be crossing a line that I wouldn't want to cross, right? Activision could have saw that and been like, well, you're accepting donations to work on a mod for our game, we don't like that, shut it down. That still would be taking a risk. So overall, financially, the project just wasn't going to work out if you expected money. If you were on board because of passion for Call of Duty, for Modern Warfare 2, for the community, then yeah, it would have took a lot of work, but you would have done it out of pure love. And that is it, not expecting a dime from anybody. So I think people were promised money that just wasn't going to come through. So that was a huge problem. But let me also make clear, there were people involved in the project that had very important roles. Without them, the mod wouldn't have been possible. And once they left the project was dead in the water, with a slim to none chance of the project ever being revived. And as of right now, the project will sit on a shelf for who knows how long, probably forever. So at this point, cross your fingers for the official Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer. Done. Period to that story. That is not going to happen no matter what anybody argues. So now when it comes to the official Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer, what's going on with that? So the latest we have is this. At some point, I think it was way before Black Ops Cold War even got revealed, it was confirmed by many insiders who have gotten everything correct that there were lots of maps from Modern Warfare 2 remastered on the brand new Modern Warfare engine for 2019. So we're like, alright, those maps are going to end up dropping in the new Modern Warfare, which kind of confirms that we're not going to see a separate Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer. People were pissed about that. We saw Rust, and I think that was it. I don't think we've seen any other Modern Warfare 2 maps brought to the new Modern Warfare. So those maps are just sitting, waiting to be released. So either one, they're going to end up being saved for Infinity Ward's next game, Modern Warfare 2, the sequel to the current Modern Warfare that's supposed to drop next year, or two, I think the maps could be getting saved right now for an actual remastered Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer. But when's that going to happen? So as of right now, we all expect Infinity Ward to return in 2021, next fall, to drop their sequel to the new Modern Warfare. But what if that game just includes a sequel to the campaign, and that's it? Maybe a new Spec Ops, if possible. Maybe even a Zombies, which we'll talk about later. But what if the multiplayer isn't a brand new experience? What if it's just the original Modern Warfare 2 maps remastered, all on the brand new engine that Modern Warfare is currently sitting on? So what if that's all we end up getting, at least for the launch of the game? So people will still be mad about that, right? It wouldn't play the same, wouldn't feel the same, obviously, even if it's the same weapons and kill streaks. People would still be upset, no matter what. But I think this goes back to the original rumor from a couple months ago, which is that the remastered Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer got scrapped for a couple of reasons, right? And the first reason is that it played a little bit different. Apparently changes were being made to the multiplayer, which balanced weapons, kill streaks, and some other things. And if you guys remember, Modern Warfare 2 back then was pretty underbalanced. Everything was overpowered, everything was broken, but that's what made the game fun. So if they changed those things, people would get very upset about that, and there'd be a lot of backlash. But to play devil's advocate, another reason the actual project could have been scrapped is because the current Call of Duty community may not be able to handle how broken that game really was. This isn't the same community in 2020 or 2021 that we had back in 2009, 2010. It's just not the same. So will the community even be happy with a remastered Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer? I don't know. I mean, it's a good question. And also, to add on top of that, when would be a good time to even drop it? As I've been saying for so long now, when could they do it, right? Modern Warfare 1 Remastered from 2016 was an exception because at that time, 3 games were being updated at the same time. Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, and then Modern Warfare 1 Remastered. Right now, we already have Black Ops Cold War, Modern Warfare 2019, and Warzone. So we have a stack of games right now being updated all at once. So how do you slip in a Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer? The easy answer is to probably save it for next fall, right? To drop it with the new Modern Warfare game. But, would they want to have a new Modern Warfare multiplayer and the Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer? That's probably too much. That's why I suggested just having Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer remastered as the launch experience for Infinity Ward's next game. That could be what happens. But we also heard that the title of Infinity Ward's next game is Modern Warfare 2 with the Roman numeral 2, not the number 2, to avoid confusion with the original Modern Warfare 2 10 years ago. So the game could even be called Modern Warfare 141 or Modern Warfare 2 blah 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 with subtext after that. So let's see what happens with the title, but I'm sure you guys are also wondering what's going on with Modern Warfare 3 Remastered. So that is a project that is contractually obligated to release at some point in the future, which means that game is 100% guaranteed to release at some point as part of a Sony exclusivity deal, which means PlayStation should have a month or so exclusivity to that project. The question is not only when is that game going to come out, but also is the multiplayer contractually obligated for Modern Warfare 2 and 3 Remastered? Remastered. As of now, if I had to guess, I would say only the campaigns are contractually obligated for this Sony deal, but maybe they said, alright Activision, if you want to throw in the multiplayer as well, feel free, but we're only expecting remastered campaigns. Maybe that's why the multiplayer didn't drop for Modern Warfare 2, since they were like, yeah, there's no point right now. We have other success going on with other player bases, so let's not throw that into the mix, but we have campaigns, so that's good enough for the contract. Maybe that's what's happening, but the question also is, who is making Modern Warfare 3 Remastered, right? Raven did Modern Warfare 1, Beanox did Modern Warfare 2, who is remastering Modern Warfare 3? Could it be Beanox again? Or could it be Sledgehammer? A new rumor actually surfaced recently that apparently Sledgehammer is remastering Modern Warfare 3, which to me is pretty poetic and very acceptable since they actually co-developed the original Modern Warfare 3 in 2011 with Infinity Ward, so I would have no issue whatsoever if they ended up remastering the game itself. And we've also been hearing for probably a year now too that Sledgehammer has had a bit of an overhaul, right? Everybody that used to work there is no longer there. Maybe a few people here and there, but it is a brand new studio with hundreds of new employees and they have dozens of projects that they're working on. We heard about a free-to-play Call of Duty release for spring 2021. Who knows if that's still happening because of COVID, but apparently it was an expansion to Warzone that would have been an experience you could play on mobile. So a cross-play game from mobile to console to PC, that would have been pretty cool. It apparently had building. Who knows what's happening with that? It probably would have been War from World War II expanded to be a Warzone experience. That would have been pretty cool, but are they making the next Call of Duty for 2021? Sure, it's possible, but with new staff and all, who knows what their vision is now for a future Call of Duty game, but I'm excited for it, right? Fingers crossed for a good title at some point in the future that's as strong as Advanced Warfare and World War II. But, of course, they were making Black Ops Cold War at one point, or whatever the game was called, before they were replaced with Treyarch to help Raven finish the project. And I think to end off this video, I also want to mention zombies for the future of the Call of Duty franchise, because what happens next year when Modern Warfare 2 drops, or whatever the game is, what will the third game mode be? Spec Ops is very unlikely, although they could revamp it to actually be enjoyable, but is that replayable for too long? So what if they just continue the current zombie story from Black Ops Cold War and have Infinity Ward make zombies again? I definitely would be on board for that if it properly acknowledges the writing that Treyarch currently has going for the Dark Ether story, but I also wouldn't want them to kind of dip their feet and ruin anything to where Treyarch has to step in a year later and then kind of retcon things or rewrite things that were shit. So it's kind of a hit or miss if they do zombies again, but if they end up doing a new zombies of a whole new story, taking the same risk again as we saw many years ago with Infinite Warfare zombies, Exo zombies, Nazi zombies from World War II. So I don't know what's a smarter decision, right? Don't do zombies at all, do zombies continuing off Black Ops Cold War, or do a new zombies experience altogether. You have three options there, which all could fail miserably. But leave all your thoughts on that down below in the comment section. This has been dkdynamite. What are your thoughts on the mod for Black Ops 3 being canceled, and what are your thoughts on the multiplayer still being possible and being featured as the launch content for Infinity Ward's next game? Really hope you enjoyed, and peace out, everyone.